Hi, this is Jeff Lesher with What's the Point? And I am just back from vacation where my family and I stayed at a well-located but modest apartment right near the beach. And I mention this because the modesty extended to the appliances in the kitchen, especially the freezer, which did not have an ice maker. Now, this is a funny thing to me because I grew up in a house with a mother who loved not only ice in every beverage that she consumed, but a lot of ice. And in fact, she still does. And we didn't have an ice maker. We didn't have a lot of stuff, but we especially did not have an automatic ice maker. So it was the responsibility of any one of us, but mostly me, as it turned out, to make sure that ice was made, freezing water in a variety of tray types, some of which were metal, which when they get moist and then frozen and then you put your hand on causes your skin to stick to them in a very uncomfortable way. For any of you who have seen the classic movie Christmas Story, you can extend that to a far worse degree than just using your hand on some piece of metal that your skin sticks to when it's frozen. But I digress a little bit. So we were practiced in the art of making ice. And I had to do this, got to, whatever you want to say, over the course of the week. Make sure the trays, which thankfully were plastic, were filled up with water. When they were frozen, then I cracked the cubes out into the bin so that my wife and daughter in particular could continue to fill their glasses with lots of ice, much like my mom did the entirety of my growing up. And it caused me to wonder this: what if you never learned how to make ice? What would you do? How would you figure that out? And what would the expectations be of those around you who had a thirst, if you will, for ice, and you were not contributing to quenching that thirst? And it is an apt example of exactly the trap that we fall into as leaders and as colleagues and sometimes as parents, of expecting people to be able to do things that they have no way of knowing how to do unless or until they're introduced to the need, the value of, and the process for addressing that otherwise lacking of ability or creation. What if they never learned how to make ice? And it reminded me of conversations that I had with lots of parents, especially mothers, because when my kids were younger, I was the parent who got elected to do most of the school-related volunteering and so forth. And I was of a lesser number of fathers among a greater number of mothers for the most part. And I say that only because I had the opportunity as the son of a woman who said when I was about 10 years old and already doing a number of chores around the house, you need to know how to do your laundry because I am not doing it for you. And that resulted in a lifetime of doing laundry, which I'm still very much living, which I guess I should be thankful for. And during my college days was something of an attraction for many members of my dorm who apparently had never learned how to do their laundry. And at the Wahoo Wash laundromat, where I did my laundry first year at Virginia, people would crowd around and watch me fold my clothes and say, wow, he does it. Or I'll say it just like one of the guys in my dorm liked to say, you got to watch Lesher fold his shirts. He does it just like they do at the store. But I learned how to do it. I understood the necessity. If you want clean, unstinky clothes, you're going to have to wash them yourself. And if you want them to look good, you have to learn how to fold them. You have to learn how to iron them in some cases too. And my mom at least took the time to teach me how to do that. Certainly set the expectation that she wanted ice and a lot of it, and that there was a process for making it, and sometimes invested in that by buying more ice trays so that we could freeze more water at one time and crack open lots of cubes to try to slake a family of 6 or more people at any given time of their desire to have a cold beverage. So I have a little fun with this as I'm coming back to reality, but really to just share the essence of this with any of you watching who are wondering why it is that somebody in your life, professionally, personally, both, is not doing something that you wish they would do. They may not know that there's a need. They may not understand the value, and it's very likely that they don't know the process. They actually don't know how to do it. So remind yourself in that moment when you're thinking, gosh, darn it, why aren't they doing that thing? It really irritates me and I wish they would. It would be so helpful if they did. They may never have learned to make ice. And the point, of course, is not ice specifically, although could be, but it is something that you value, something for which there is a need, and there is a process that if you introduce them to all of those things and shepherded them through the process of learning to do it, understanding the expectation for it, and appreciating the value of it, how much better could your life be? And not just because you have more cold beverages, although those are nice, but because you have somebody who is able and willing to be your partner in an effort to be better. And as almost always is true, that is the point. So go make some ice and enjoy yourself, because you can, if you invest a little, to do better.